Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now it's time for your weekend tech tip, brought to you by Chevy Silverado.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, simple rigging for Pikeminnow, and I'm going to just start this out with, there is a ton of different ways to catch Pikeminnow, from reaction baits like lipless crankbaits or gitsits or different jig and grub combos. There's a number of ways that you can catch them. It's all dependent on location and how you're actually going to be fishing. This is the most popular way to do it, would you say? I mean,
it is. That's your boat fishing Pikeminnow setup.
Okay, and it is nothing more than a little bit of a hybrid of what you would use to chase trout around, right? What he's got set up here is a braided main line, feels like 15-pound roughly.
Yep.
And then a slider down to a bead, and then a swivel. So very, very simple. Typically, if you're going to go out plunking for trout, you know, you just would have an egg sinker that's just sliding on your main line. In this case, he does have a dropper, because remember, you're going to be in a river. Getting that bait up a little bit to keep it out of the rocks or any debris that might be on the bottom is an advantage. So you got a small dropper there. And then in this case, he's just got, it looks like a 1-ounce weight on here. So again, very basic rigging, but usable pretty much everywhere that you go, as long as you can get it on the bottom in front of the fish with the right bait. Is that right? Exactly.
And you adjust your weight to the lightest possible, whatever you can get away with to get it down on the bottom. That dropper, I always tell people, if you've ever seen the bottom of the Columbia River, there's a lot of gunk and weeds.
Lots, yeah.
Anyway, the dropper helps get your bait up out of the weeds, out of the muck, and the current actually moves the bait a little bit, so that helps too.
Sure.
And so just little subtle things like that really make a huge difference, rather than sitting flat,
Sure,
on the
right
bottom.
on the bottom.
Yeah.
So they don't feed like a sturgeon feeds. They feed on the bottom. They're a bottom fish. They're right on the bottom most of the time, but they're not actually feeding like a sturgeon does. They want it up a little bit. And as long as they can see it clearly and smell it, you're in the winning category.
And they're an active predator. I mean, if you look at them when we have them at the sports show in our tank, their eyes, they're always looking.
Oh, yeah.
They catch movement and all that. And so I think they're down there just prowling and see something, smell something, right size, shape, boom.
Yeah, and what you also got set up here feels like about a 10-pound leader?
10, not because you need it. I mean, the fish average 1.5 pounds, but really you don't want to be busting off because you're fishing the bottom. So you got to have a certain amount, 8 or 10 or whatever, just an
adequate leader, nothing too fancy there. And then about a size 1 hook is what you got here?
Yeah.
Okay, so just a regular octopus style size 1 hook, about 24-ish liters or inch leader. Looks like maybe a little bit more than that. That could change based on the area that you're in. A relatively short rod. Again, you can have any rod and reel combo that you want. Steelhead setup will work fine. A heavy trout setup will work fine. Spinning or bait caster like this. So basically what you probably already have is going to be more than adequate to target Pikeminnow. But trout and steelhead fishing ain't going to pay you $164,000 in 5 months. I'm just going to throw that out there.
No.
No.
I would note on the hook there, it is tied with an egg loop, because a lot of times these soft baits, you got to tie them on, otherwise they go one way and the hook goes the other.
Okay, so I mean, that's a perfect place to go. So right now it's the middle of May. We got spring Chinook that are working their way upriver. Some folks get lucky, and if you do, sometimes there's eggs in there. That turns out to be uncured, just straight eggs. Turns out to be the #1 bait.
That's my favorite, absolutely. But I would tell people I always go with 3 or 4 baits.
Okay.
At least 3 or 4, because some days eggs work, some days night crawlers. I was just talking to one of our top anglers the other day, fishing above Bonneville. He uses pretty much nothing but night crawlers. So
really,
he's just got it dialed in and got those little windows of opportunity. And they say he makes it look easy. I think he only had 78 that day.
Only 78?
Yeah, only 78.
Only. Now, he mentioned real quickly here during the commercial break, I'm like, yeah, there's lots of ways to go after them, right? But when you're using bait, you get into the fish, you want to keep your bait in there. So you land the fish, grab a separate rod that's already rigged up, and get it back out there, drop it back down, take care of the fish you just landed. So it is a full-blown system. It is not just, hey, we got one, let's take a photo. No, it's, oh, okay, they're right there. Another one's right back on top of it, and that process is just rinse and repeat so that you can, that's how you rack those numbers up.
It's like production mode, sort of.
Right.
Yep. And you just don't know how long those windows are going to last, you know, where the fish are there and they're on the bite, because it just changed so quick. Once it closes, then you got to go find them again. And so that takes time.
Sure.
So time not fishing is time not catching.
Sure.
So the good guys stick with it, even if it means staying all night.
And they certainly do that. They certainly do that. The app helps out with that. They're able to check in and get stuff checked, or excuse me, check into the program and then also get their fish checked in when they're supposed to, of course, because it's a daily thing. But you mentioned having 3 or 4 baits with you. We talked about eggs, talked about night crawlers. What would be another couple of baits that you would take with you?
So the most popular, going back 35 years, bait is just ordinary chicken liver. You'd buy it at Safeway or something like that. It's
a catfish bait.
yeah, I mean, it's a really good bait.
Yeah.
And then of course, if you got crawdads, or if you go on the east side, get the Mormon crickets.
Oh yeah.
It's a big giant cricket. One of these times, I'm going to bring you one.
Yeah.
Or a couple of them.
Yeah. We can play with them here in the set and watch them bounce around for a while.
There you go. Or let it clamp onto your finger.
No thanks. No, I can avoid. I'd be happy to avoid that. Okay, so a number of different baits that you can use. Basically, plunking out of the back of the boat. Most important thing is location, baits, then presentation. So again, it's certainly a fun fishery because you're still fishing, right? But in the end, if it's done correctly, and listen, you're not going to go out there the first year and make 164 grand. You're not going to go out there the second year and make 164 grand. You're not going to do it in the third year. But the people that have focused on it in that 5-month window, there's a handful, and I mean 2, maybe 3, that are always at the top of the list because they're doing just what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I would say by far most of our fish are caught on bait, and so that's a really good place to start.
Yeah.
You know, like out of our top 20 anglers, 19 of them are bait anglers.
Gotcha.
And likewise, boat, because those fish move around a lot, and so it really allows you to find them better. So just a couple of key things that make a huge difference. If you're bank angling, your best bet is up close to one of the dams on the downstream side.
Gotcha.
That's where the food supply is, and you might alter that a little bit because the water's going to be a lot heavier and faster. You might need some more weight and a little bit stiffer rod, but But they're there. You just got to find them.
Participate in it. If you haven't done it before, you can get serious about it, or you can just have some fun with it and make some gas money. There's a lot of folks that do that. Well, they'll take the kids out, the family out, and they'll do 2 or 3 days of chasing pikeminnow. And done correctly, they end up paying for it all and making a little bit of money.
Yeah, and if you go to the Pikeminnow website, there's also a $10 coupon on there. So your first fish, you get an extra $10 when
Very
you
cool.
turn in.
All right, very
Just
cool.
to kind of help you get you started.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Well, hey, thanks for coming in again, as always, to share some info. And we need to quit threatening to go out and do something on the water, by the way. We need to go out and do that.
2025.
There you go. It's already a really weird year. All right, we're going to cut to a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to have Mr. Dave Ing. He is the owner of Fishing Guide Service. He's currently chasing sturgeon. They've landed an oversized, let it go. They've already got salmon in the boat. Let's find out from him what he's seeing and how this day might play out for you if you happen to head out there as well on your Mother's Day Sunday. We'll be back in just a minute.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Yakima Bait, steeped in tradition, innovation, and fishing success. Procure Bait Sense, ruthlessly effective. And by North American Metals Incorporated, first choice for all your metal roofing and siding needs.